Wisconsin, where the early breaths of fall beacon us to explore its hidden treasures. This is a place I never thought I'd find myself visiting. But through the desire to rekindle old friendships, I find myself on a journey discovering this state's hidden beauty. A journey where even misfortune led me to the most remarkable places. A journey through these majestic forests, taking me into the most beautiful waters, and across some of the most breathtaking coastlines. It felt like every day I was discovering something new and beautiful in this state. I spent 4 days here, and I feel like I only scratched the surface. As this journey unfolds, we discover the essence of this state. Welcome to Wisconsin. Right now I'm sitting in Altoona Lake County Park, which is just outside of Eau Claire. I wish I knew about this spot last night because I ended up camping in the Walmart parking lot overnight in the back of my van. But this would have been a beautiful place to wake up. I had about a 10-hour drive up from Ohio here to Eau Claire, and then now I'm going to drive an hour north to the Chequamegon-Nicolet National Forest where we're going to be camping for the weekend. And that's really just going to be the start of this trip. I'm taking a 3-week-long road trip across the country, kind of going to see the fall foliage unfold. It's my best friend from college. His name is Kevin. He's going to make a drive up from North Dakota to join me for the weekend. After the weekend, Kevin's going to head back home, and I'm going to head up north to the Apostle Islands where I'm going to get to experience northern Wisconsin here. The leaves are just starting to change. As I've been driving through town, I've seen trees that are half green, half yellow. So we're right here at the beginning of fall starting to emerge. But Kevin's almost here, so I gotta hit the road. I'm driving this backcountry road. I see this pasture that's behind me with some beautiful fall trees and cows in the pasture. So I figured I'd pull over real quick and throw the drone up and see what I can see. I just got out here to the National Forest and it's been raining the last little bit of the drive and it's still drizzling a little bit. I looked at the forecast, it's supposed to rain all weekend, so I'm not sure how much we're gonna do outside. But I just picked out a campsite, so I'm gonna get all my stuff ready and wait for Kevin to show up. Say hi, Kevin. Hola. So I just about lost my drone. The battery was so low it was gonna land on its own, and it was landing on the lake. And then Kevin noticed it. Somehow my phone managed to disconnect from the remote while the battery was critically low, so it started to land on its own while it was over the water. In the video you can see just how close it got to actually landing on the water. At that point I had just accepted it was lost, but thankfully Kevin spotted it at the last minute and I was able to get it back with like 2% battery left. Terrifying, terrifying. So I did the most logical thing anyone would do in that situation. I put the drone right back up in the air. So I got a few more shots with the drone and then we walked back to the campsite. When we got back, I was ready to cook dinner, but Kevin had some other ideas. What is it? Let's go! So we poured us a couple adult beverages and got the night rolling. After a while, I was able to cook us some dinner, and then we lit the campfire and called it a night. We just got done having breakfast here at Day Lake, and it's been raining all night long. It's supposed to rain the rest of the day, so I think we're gonna head into town to Hayward, Wisconsin. Apparently there's a really cool fishing museum, so we'll kind of see what we get into out there.
Out of my mind, how could I be so blind? How could I not see? Awake on the floor, looking up, wanting more. This is so unreal. I must have been wrong.
So we just got to the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame, and the first thing we see when we pull up is this massive fish. That is huge! And it looks like we can go inside of it. So this is actually the world's largest fish sculpture, and on the inside it's full of taxidermied fish, names of people in the Hall of Fame, and information on how it was constructed. But the inside of the fish wasn't too exciting, so we headed over to the main building where all the really cool stuff was. The amount of exhibits and items they had in this museum was actually mind-blowing.
Holy crap, 72-inch muskie.
It felt like every time I thought we were almost done, I'd stumble across even more stuff.
There's another wing that I just didn't see.
There is so much history and information about not just fishing, but hunting and wildlife in general. But the amount of fishing specific items they had was just insane. There were hallways full of fishing equipment showing the evolution from the early days all the way to the modern era. There was thousands of lures and bait used for different fish across different generations, and there was hundreds of rods and reels from different time periods. And there was even just old antiques in general. But the coolest part in my opinion was the amount of boat motors that they had on display. There was hundreds, if not 1,000 of them. But there was one specifically that had a really cool story. It was this bright orange motor that was built in Russia. So the US doesn't import these motors. The Coast Guard actually recovered it from a rowboat that was fleeing Cuba, and then it was eventually donated to the museum here. When we got done at the museum, it was still raining, so we hopped in the truck, headed back to the campsite, and called it a night pretty early.
When we wake,
It's currently 8 a.m. It has been raining all night long again. I don't think it stopped raining for a couple hours since we've been here. Now I'm gonna head up north to the Apostle Islands. It's about an hour and a half drive that way. I'm hoping the rain clears up when I get there because the rain has just been non-stop all weekend. Yeah, so I never made it to the Apostle Islands that day. Instead, I found myself stuck on the side of the road in the middle of Wisconsin with absolutely no cell signal. But thankfully, shortly after getting stuck, a really nice guy stopped and helped me get a hold of a tow truck company. Tom ended up deciding to sit and wait with me for an hour and a half until the tow truck finally showed up, and during that time we got to talk and get to know each other a little bit. And when I told him about the road trip I'm on, he ended up inviting me out to his property, which was right down the road. Wow, this is the lake? Wow, that's real pretty. He took me on a boat ride showing me the place, and oh my gosh, this place is beautiful.
And it was all just our family place.
As a kid, I used to come up here when we came out here to go fishing or canoeing or whatever. It was just us.
Yeah, this is kind of my backyard. I'm really spoiled.
And then when we got back to shore, I took a little walk around the property. And then Tom let me use one of his canoes for the rest of the day.
You know, you're welcome to use whatever you want.
I have never kayaked before, so this will be interesting.
Days are speeding by. There ain't no time to cry about giving up on things I really need, like laying on your chest with no distractions, moving with nowhere to go. So
It started raining a little too hard, so I decided to dock the canoe here and hike up to the top of the gorge. started to set, I ended up declining Tom's offer to let me camp on his property. So instead I headed to the closest Walmart parking lot to spend the rest of the night. So this is my last day in Wisconsin. So I'm gonna head up to the Apostle Islands and do an island boat cruise, which kind of just takes you through all the islands and along the lakeshore. It's supposed to be absolutely beautiful, so I'm glad I'm doing it on a day that it's sunny and not raining. So I booked the cruise with Apostle Island Cruises, and I can't say a single bad thing about them. I got there pretty early, so we had to wait in line for about an hour until they started loading the boat. All the seats are first come, first served, but I ended up standing at the back of the boat the entire time because it was just a better view overall. So my time in Wisconsin comes to an end. I just got off the Apostle Islands cruise boat, saw some absolutely beautiful scenery along the shoreline of all the islands, stopped and had lunch, and now I'm gonna head out to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Tune in for the next one.